All right, good morning. This is Amanda talking, which I'll be leading today. I'm going to give it, maybe another 30 seconds or so, a minute to see if anyone else is going to join. Hopefully, you can hear me. If anyone has a second, want to just comment in the chat box that yes, you can hear me, that would be terrific. Thank you, Robin. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I do have a lot to get through. If you've got questions, use your chat box. I will be looking at that, and if I can't get to it, or if you want to talk after the fact, feel free just to reach out to me. So again, my name is Amanda Majewski, and I've been with Higher Level over 8 years now. And I oversee what we now call our Human Capital Management Department. We started our payroll service in 2001. So those who are customers who do utilize our outsourced payroll service, we've really grown more into what we call human capital management. So today I'm going to be talking about more of what that looks like when we're talking about HR and how HR revenue is an impact to your organizations. So hopefully I'll provide some great insight for you all, and this is beneficial for you this morning. All right, so I really want to start off by sharing just a short story for you all. So 2 years ago now, we officially kind of just started planning for a 2020 vision. Also this year in 2020, Higher Level, also known as Extra Help, those who've been with us several years, we will be celebrating our 25th anniversary. So, really just when we're looking to the future and our vision, we wanted to go all out in terms of what we will do for clients this year and what we're going to do internally. We're still planning for some fun stuff throughout the year. But 2 years ago, when we really wanted to come up with what does our vision look like in the future, we didn't want to guess what everyone's thoughts were about our goals for the future and what the vision was going to be for our company. So we sent out a survey company-wide and have been doing annual surveys to get feedback from our team. So we sent it out everyone to, again, try to engage our team and help get some synergies going for our 2020 vision. So we really thought we had something. We sent email invites out. The marketing team did postcards. We left it out on people's desks. We had flyers all up in our offices to get everyone participating in the survey. And of course, we had a deadline when we wanted to complete that. However, looking back, it seems less exciting than what it seemed at the time. So in 2018, we sent this employee engagement survey with something to be proud of, including all employees in long-term company planning and goals was something to boast about. But really, these are just basic expectations now that I think about it. People expect to be included, they expect transparency, and they expect to not only be asked to give their opinion, but to be able to provide their opinion at any given time. In 2020, we now know that employee engagement is fully dependent on employee experience. And so that focus has shifted. So It's about employers truly creating and sharing an experience with employees by changing the way that business decisions are made with questions like, how will this impact our people? Or what will our employees think of this? Asking these questions before creating the vision will ensure more engagement with your vision. 2020 business success requires a culture where leaders and managers alike put themselves in the employee's shoes. We should be thinking of the employee experience as if it is the input, while employee engagement is the output you're aiming for. So 2 things that I kind of have mentioned there just in that beginning statement is employee engagement and employee experience. And I really want to make sure I define those 2 for you. So what is employee engagement? It is the right conditions for all members of an organization to give of their best each day, committed to their organization goals and values, motivated to contribute to organizational success over a particular month of time. So this, could be annually, monthly, quarterly, etc. And what is an employee experience? Well, it's an integrated experience that impacts daily life in and outside the workplace, including overall physical, emotional, professional, and financial well-being. So I really want you to hang on to employee engagement and the employee experience piece today. Truly, the employee experience happens across the entire employee life cycle and can be broken down in stages to hone in on 1, where can we make improvements? 2, what may be contributing to lowered employee engagement? Or even 3, why is turnover high? And 4, how can we reduce unnecessary expenses? So I want to talk through, you can see just kind of like these stages, what is considered the employee journey, or I like to even refer to it as the employee life cycle. So your candidacy is, posting jobs, recruiting, finding talent, attracting that talent, evaluating what your hiring needs are, to tracking resumes. Next phase is the onboarding phase. Logistics, what does that look like in terms of that paperwork, collecting of your new hire, setting that employee up for success with that foundation of what does your training schedule look like, orientation, what type of benefits or perks do you give the employee? Third thing, performance. How well are they performing in their job? What are the expectations for that? How much time does it take to onboard a new employee through your training process? And are there certain compliances, again, depending on your industry, that maybe require certifications? And ultimately, then what kind of goals does that individual have for their position? Or what kind of goals would you like for them to strive for? But when I talk about those specific things, it isn't just a one-time annual, all right, we're going to do a performance evaluation or a progress assessment is what we like to call them at a higher level. So how often is this happening in your organization? How often are you meeting with the employees? The growth sector. So this is learning opportunity, could be, benefits, advisement, and ultimately retention. Retaining our employees is crucial to success within a business because of having those lasting employees. They are a true asset to your team because of the experiences that they have had at your company. And the last phase, the exit phase, which again can entail your benefits. What is your retirement package? I talked in the very beginning, what kind of survey maybe do you have in place, and really advocating for them to lead those conversations, asking for their feedback. All right, so remember, the employee journey or experience is the input, and engagement is what you get out of it. And I know I had mentioned that in the very beginning. And here you can see that based off of levels of engagement, we're highlighting here a couple that are circled here in yellow. A 2.5 greater revenue growth and a 12% higher customer advocacy. And those are important in my mind, because when you have happy clients, your business continues to grow, right? So you do experience that greater revenue growth. So essentially, the output of a strong employee experience closely aligned with your company's goals is twofold. One, your engagement, such as satisfaction, retention, and productivity. And two, your company performance. I'm sure everyone on this today is all thinking the same thing. Yes, I'm here for my business to grow. I want my team to grow. And how can I get started with doing that? So how do we achieve all of this? How do we create that type of employee experience? I really think a long-term strategic approach that aligns that culture that you have in your company and the behaviors and processes, not just perks and feel goods. Understanding the stages of the employee journey that we previously talked about in step 1 to making HR a revenue generator. Whereas step 2 is understanding what the individual employee needs throughout these stages. So again, which I had mentioned on the previous slide, so the candidacy portion, onboarding, performance, growth, and exit. So when we have employees who are going about their everyday life, what an employee really needs. And don't get me wrong, at this point in time, these things are basic expectations again, and not perks. But the rewarding and recognition goes a long way. And I'm going to talk a little bit more of that here in a minute. Well-being, that team aspect, development, tools for the job, and technology. So there is something here to correspond with different stages of the employee life cycle. When it comes down to it, all of this together to evaluate how well do you hire, manage, grow your workforce. Your answer to that will give you a good idea of how strong your employee experience really is. And if you don't know where you sit with your employees' needs at each stage of the employee life cycle, then I highly recommend getting back to the basics of surveying your team. But all of this is a lot to manage manually if you're maybe jotting down some notes or really just taking it all in with what I'm talking about today. So whether you have one person dedicated to each phase of the employee life cycle, or you have one person managing it all, either way, it's daunting. I get it. Employee experience is key to company growth, regardless of company size, and technology can greatly reduce human resource issues and ensure your people are not only able to do what you hired them to do, but are motivated to do that plus more. And here I'm talking about retention and loyalty. So at higher level, we have the saying that growth happens from the inside out. And the data I shared with you all earlier supports that. So another quick little story here. So one thing that we do, especially in our HCM department, we have weekly trainings. And what I mean by that, not is it just led by the same person every week, but we really have developed our training schedule where it enlists everyone, where everyone is taking their turn to lead and prepare and just host that training. So topic could be product, it could be a payroll concept, it could be an update in legislation. So it really is a wide range of topics that we train on that, of course, fits within our mold and in our department. And the training that we did just yesterday, we really started to get in the habit of having quizzes with the actual training too. because you don't want people just to show up. You want people to get what you expect out of a training, right? Content, knowledge for them to do their job and to do it well. So we really started to emphasize not only being present is one thing, but making sure that a quiz just make sure that we're testing the knowledge and that they're taking away what we want from the content that's presented in our trainings. So I definitely think that, you know, if you feel that you want to incorporate some of this, you know, training piece, and it'll make sense here on the next couple slides too, why training is just a good piece to add to your mix of things. So let's look at how technology can influence employee experience strategies. All right, so candidacy, for example, that I spoke about is related to an applicant tracking system. And if you're not too familiar with an applicant tracking system, it is a tool that is used to track candidates who respond to your job postings. You know, you may have a job posted that's linked on your website, but where does that information flow, right? Does it just go in someone's email box? Does it go to a random email that just clutters up with a bunch of other information? Whereas an applicant tracking tool helps you manage that process of where are they at in the interviewing spaces. You know, were they able to complete the testing maybe that you had sent them? Did they answer knockout questions? And I think for you all, that the most important thing is your time when you're going through all of those assessments anyway. You know, do you have the right candidates? You know, do you need to tweak your job description? Because the type of candidates that you're getting, they're just instantly on paper, just not a good fit. So anyway, an applicant tracking tool can really help keep that organized for you. Second thing that technology can influence an employee experience is onboarding. So electronic onboarding and automating that process. And what I mean by that is if you have employees who might work in multiple locations, you know, at higher level, we've got multiple locations. And when we do have a new hire, you know, their paperwork and some of their onboarding collection of their documentation and their personal info is all done before they start on their first day. So that just helps reduce, you know, the paperwork collection on first day, whereas your first day as a new hire, you're able to spend that time getting down to it, learning the job that you will be taking on. A third item on technology, how it can influence an employee's experience, is the performance piece. And this could be from anywhere from an employee has online access to view their own pay stubs, see where they stand with their benefits that's being offered to them, requesting time off online. You know, we do have some clients who utilize performance management within our system, and employees can review those notes after, you know, a performance evaluation has been done. Another area for technology that can help influence an employee's strategy or engagement would be growth. You know, there are a lot of tools out in the market this day that is a learn management system. And a learn management system will allow you to create content. Again, you know, I was talking about training earlier, whereas this is an online training module that you may have your employees complete self-started trainings. So this could be, you know, anything from just company policy, sexual harassment. What I really have seen, it just allows employees to do it on their own time as well. So things to consider across the entire journey that You know, I've talked a lot about just, all right, these phases or these stages, but you know, really, how can it apply to me, or what does apply to me? So some things to think about, or what I really think could be, you know, really just kind of pain points as an employer, or just things that you experience every day in your world. But one thing is, do your employees have on-demand access to their data? You know, like their pay stubs or W-2. Do you or your employees have multiple logins to manage? How much time is spent importing or exporting employee data from one place to another? Do you ever lose candidate or employee information from onboarding? Do you have to ask them to complete it again? Or, you know, and then they get disgruntled about it. Are you constantly answering the same questions over and over from different employees about policies and benefits and pay stubs, and the list goes on and on and on? I'm sure everyone is shaking their head, nodding their head yes about that one. Do employees seem frustrated about their payroll information, their hours worked, asking off for vacation or when sick? Let's not even get started with taxes and tax documents. You know, we have this running joke in our department. You know, if an employee might call, or, you know, an employee of a client, and they want to know who's FICA or Medicare and why are they taking their money. So we do get a lot of questions, and I'm sure if we're getting them, you're getting them too. And lastly, do you have issues coordinating mandated training that the entire company has to complete? And do employees seem bothered when they have to sit through a training time that didn't really jive with their schedule? So, especially in the state of Illinois right now, you know, sexual harassment and that training being required. You know, I mentioned earlier using a learn management system to let a lot of this training documents and videos live. And we definitely do have that sort of platform available for you. All right, so as I was preparing for this, I really wanted to give really 3 things to just really start doing now. Because a lot of this stuff I've been talking about does require planning and putting stuff together, strategizing. If you're going to send a survey out, you know, that takes time to get that information back. What questions are you going to ask in the survey? Then you're going to evaluate those, you know. So I wanted to give you all something that was, all right, just a small takeaway right now from just this short presentation. So how can you make 3 small changes? Well, 1, provide continuous training. I definitely have talked about that a lot here today. But with the job market becoming increasingly more competitive, many companies are scrambling to provide unique benefits to employees in an effort to decrease their turnover rates. So through offering better benefit packages, higher salaries, and expensive perks, some companies have been, you know, succeeded in drawing out even their industry's talent from rival agencies. But however, some of these things I've just talked about, increasing benefits or increasing salaries, that just may not be in your budgets. I totally get that. But talented and skilled workers are seeking out companies that have the most to offer. And if your business isn't able to keep up, you may see the employee, you know, retention rate, or, you know, drop, or you might, you know, lose an employee because they went to, you know, a competitor. But so how do you compete with the bigger companies who have these budgets that I mentioned that, you know, that may not just be the case. I mean, we're here at Higher Level, we're still a small employer too, and do experience these challenges ourselves. So I just thought, you know, 3 creative ways to really enhance your company culture that I wanted to share with you. So like I mentioned the first one, provided continuous training, and I've been talking a lot about this throughout this morning, but without continuous training and development, employees can often feel stagnant and struggle with not being challenged enough in their work. So in fact, many employees who start looking for a new job are looking for something that gives them more opportunities to climb the company ladder. So satisfy your employees' need for growth and opportunities by offering them training and education options within your company. This doesn't mean you have to blow your budget on tickets to massive conventions or seminars, transportation and food for your whole team. It could be just something as simple as hosting a lunchtime workshop for anyone interested, which we do a lot of that in our company here at Higher Level. The employees who are most dedicated to their work and are motivated to grow within the company will be happy to have the opportunity to hone in their skills. If it's not within your budget to hire a professional to come in and educate your employees, at least make the information available to your team so that they may want to pursue educational opportunities on their own. Again, when we see those sort of opportunities, we always share that out with our staff too. So demonstrate the value you place in each employee's personal growth and development within within your organization. 2, be more flexible. If you've been keeping an eye on the job market, you're likely have noticed that remote work is becoming increasingly more popular. Many employees are looking for jobs where they have the flexibility to choose the hours that fit their lifestyle, which could be around, parenthood, and that allow them to work from home as needed. Additionally, they are looking for employers who recognize the value of PTO and adequate sick days, as there are still many companies whose PTO offerings are shockingly sparse. If you want to strengthen your team and reduce your turnover rate, be more flexible about where and when your employees can work. Providing vacation time and allowing sick days gives your employees a chance to rest when they need it and come back fully refreshed, ready to work. Now, personally, we've changed some, our benefits internally. We do have now a work from home policy. Now, this may not be a fit for everyone. I totally get that. For those on the call, it may not be a fit for your industry, but if you do have office staff, for example, and if it's something that you can accommodate, I would maybe consider it. Like I said, we've started doing it internally, and people are really embracing that. All right, and so the third thing, noticing your superstars. When an employee works hard and contributes to the success of the team but goes unnoticed, it is incredibly frustrating. Unrecognized achievements can lead to lackluster productivity as employees become disillusioned with the company, forcing them to question the value of their work. So don't let your superstars slip through the cracks and into a competitor's hands, like I talked about, just a moment ago. Stay connected with your team and involved in their progress so that when an employee does exceptional work, you are right there to applaud their efforts. So publicly acknowledging their hard work, it demonstrates the benefits of hard work to their coworkers as well. It gives each member of your team a reason to push themselves and strive to meet their own personal goals. Create, for example, an incentive program for your employees so that they are not just working toward a company goal, but also working towards a personal reward at the finish line. We also at Higher Level started a program this year that is more of, I guess you could call it a commission bonus structure. So based off of productivity, when they're hit at certain levels that we have set within our organization, they will receive, additional compensation for that. Now, with that being said, it is important to make sure that, benefit packages and compensations, you want to stay competitive within your industry, but that's not all what employees look for when seeking employment. It really is a great company culture to be a part of, somewhere that it's positive and inclusive and that it gives them every opportunity to succeed. So focus on your own company culture, providing, maybe some different perks. I've talked about training and being more flexible and having a flex schedule. So, I would consider it. So from recruitment to payroll to daily and long-term employee management, is your company set up for growth? So here I'm just providing with a high-level snapshot of some of the stuff I really have talked about today, from hiring your team to obviously managing the everyday HR functionality, and just, their growth piece. So that growth piece, I really can't stress enough of, doing a survey possibly if you want to find out some information, set some goals based off from that survey, enlisting that team to help set those goals, again, to help increase and build that company culture. All right, well, that's kind of all that I had today. One thing that I would like to mention too, when I started with our story a couple years ago, not only were we looking to grow our vision as a company, but listening to clients' needs as well. And we went on a journey to find a solution that really encompassed a lot of these channels that I have pulled back up here on this slide. And we landed on a product called iSolved, and I'm more than happy to continue conversations if you would be interested in learning more about how software as a service, aka iSolved, could really help bring a lot of this together for you to help your HR revenue grow. Save your time from the mundane tasks or manual tasks that it does take to set your employees up for success. So if there aren't any questions, that's all I had today. I'll hang on if you've got a few more questions. Here is my email address if you want to send me a personal note or have a question that you want to talk about offline. I will be available. So thanks everyone for joining in today, and hope you have a great day. All right, I'm going to sign off here. So didn't have any other questions, but again, feel free to reach out to me personally. Otherwise, have a great day.